Hello there, whoever might be watching this. This is just a very, hopefully short, simple little guide on the Druid build I'm using in Diablo 4. I'm currently level 70 on my Druid. I've been playing pretty religiously on this character. I have a couple other characters, but this is definitely my main one. And the only reason I'm really making this video is because I see a lot of people saying Druid is shit, a lot of Druids complaining that they don't do that well in the endgame, especially after Pulverize got nerfed. And I also haven't seen anybody making a video about this build, and I think this build's absolutely fucking broken. It's pretty crazy. The build revolves around Landslide. Landslide's a pretty basic ability, just, crushes land. Pretty simple. It's all about getting guaranteed crits, which is very easy with the Druid. It's very tanky because of Earthen Bulwark. There are definitely some legendaries here that will make your Earthen Bulwark extremely tanky and extremely durable. But the whole legendary combo really is this one right here. Trample summons landslides. This really kind of is crazy. You can't really see the full effect there, but we'll get into that in a second. But it summons 6 extra landslides to the sides of your trample. So usually you want to aim diagonally across a room. It'll just fill it full of landslides. Absolutely ridiculous. You have landslides, earth pillars, each just strike an additional time, so it just doubles your damage. Your earth skills deal 40%, 30% more crit damage to crowd-controlled enemies. And here are the big two, for me at least. Casting a storm skill increases your earth crit damage. So, storm strike, boop, free 45% crit damage permanently. Seems pretty broken. And then when you crit with a core skill, that's landslide, you get a free attack speed buff permanently. 40% in my case. Wish I had 50. There is one more, which is this right here. Your core skills deal 50% increased damage based on the amount of fortify, up to 80% if you get lucky. This is what I will use later in the game on my weapon, but right now I prefer the attack speed just because it's a little easier to move around in Torment 4, and I prefer that because I'm shit at the game, and I need to rather be mobile than one-shot everything just so I don't die. So the whole build really is all about trying to hit landslides on enemies that are crowd controlled. And the reason this is if you hit an enemy that's crowd controlled with landslide, it's gonna crit guaranteed, and it's gonna do a fuck ton of damage. So the combo when entering a room filled with enemies is to trample and then immediately cast either your poison creeper, because that's a root and it'll CC everything, or petrify, because that's a gigantic AoE stun. So, you summon enemies pretty easily. You just trample across the room. If they don't die to that, which most of them will, you can just easily left click, get your stack, right click to one shot. It's very, very simple. Earthen Bulwark, if you're scared about taking any damage, that'll just take the possibility out of the way. Oh, tramples up, entire room's filled with landslides. And you just keep doing this over and over. Ult. When you ult, it's basically just a fuck you to every enemy in the room because they can't do anything. And you just keep doing this over and over. It's a very simple build. It does a lot of damage. You easily can get 200k crits, and I'm only level 70 at the moment. And I definitely could use some upgrades on certain pieces of gear. But I think this build's very, very fun. I've seen no one talking about it. And I just think it's incredibly good. As you can see, just easily cleared this pack. I'm still not the required level for World Tier 4. I'm pretty sure it's 73. I've been doing World Tier 4 since level 62 with absolutely no issues whatsoever. And I'm going to just kind of go over the skills I have and things you should look out for if you do this build. The main one is Earthen Might. So Lucky Hit has a 5% chance, 10% on crit, or if the target is stunned, which is a lot at the time. to grant you a proc to restore your spirit immediately and cause all of your attacks to be guaranteed crits for 5 seconds. From what I can tell, this has no internal cooldown, so this could just be up for like 20 seconds straight if you get lucky, and it's very, very broken. And the way you look out for it is simply either watch your spirit bar instantly fill, or you'll get a little green effect around your character. Let me see if I can get it here. Oh, I one-shot that guy. Oopsies. Let me see if I can get over here and get in on some enemies. If I can find any. It's very hard to see. Usually I just look at my spirit gauge, and if it instantly fills, I know it's procced, because the effect on your character, especially if you're in a fight, is very hard to see. But I will try and proc it here. Doesn't seem to be happening. There it is. You see the little green little swirly around me? That's the effect of Earthen Might. So for 5 seconds, guaranteed crits. Very strong. In my opinion, probably the strongest part about this build is getting that proc. You will absolutely melt bosses. You have a lot of tankiness, especially this talent right here. 9% CC reduction. Triple this if you're over half your health fortified, which is pretty much all the time. So 27% CC reduction, very strong talent, especially in World Tier 4. You have these 3 talents right here, which synergize with your Storm Strike and your Landslide. So you have this, which is more damage to elites, great. This is more damage to vulnerable from Earth skills, and your Storm Strike applies vulnerable, fantastic synergy. And this is 6% tripled to 18. If you cast an Earth skill after a Storm skill, which will be happening quite a lot as you will be swapping back and forth violently with extremely high attack speed. A very great talent here with Poison. Enemies take 30% additional crit strike damage while poisoned. Poison Creeper poisons, very strong. Poison Creeper's last talent right here. Enemies poisoned by the Poison Creeper have a 20% chance more to be crit. Very great for if you don't have that proc. You deal 9% more damage, doubled if they're stunned. Amazing. You know, very strong tanky talents here. And damage talents. It's just a very strong build. I don't see anybody running it. I do not know why. I personally have had great success. I'm not a huge ARPG player. I didn't play a lot of Diablo 3. I tried this out. I started liking it. And it's just very strong in my opinion. Here's my Paragon board. I started with the Earthen Might. Kind of went around, got some decent nodes here. The main glyph I use is Spirit. So for every 5 decks, your core does more crit damage, which is Landslide. And then crit increases the damage targets take from you by 2%, stacking up to 12%, which is just amazing. The other one I use is called Earth and Sky. So this just grants bonus to these magic nodes here. And nature magic skills deal 10% increased damage to crowd controlled or vulnerable enemies, which is pretty much all the time because you'll have 100% uptime on this vulnerable debuff right here. I'm going for the Constricting Tendrils next because it just seems like free extra damage for absolutely no reason. My stats are pretty sporadic, but usually you just want a lot of willpower and dex from what it seems, and a decent bit of intelligence. You know, strength is pretty useless on this class, I think. Here are my boons. I have the Eagle Chosen as the special boon because I prefer the attack speed and 30% crit damage. This is mandatory. I'm not sure if you can float between these 3. I prefer the attack speed. The life, maybe if you're having a bit of trouble surviving. I don't think the crit strike chance is that good because you just get so many guaranteed crits. I use the 10% reduced damage from elites. This is probably the best one in this row by far for anything. I mean, it's just insane. Maybe the crowd control if you're having trouble getting locked down, but with that talent, I don't think that'll be an issue. I love Bolster. Bolster's great, but all of these are pretty decent. This could be good, but I don't really prefer spamming Poison Creeper, so I think Bolster's just the best option. An Obsidian Slam, even after the nerf, I think is great. You could use Combo for the Storm as well, if you want to get your ult off cooldown more, but I don't think it's really necessary. I think Obsidian Slam is just great. especially because you're always going to be full fortified. So your extra overpower damage is going to be absolutely massive. And yeah, so that's the build. You know, I'm gonna post this. It probably won't get any views, but if you have any questions, you can comment, I guess, and I'll definitely answer them. I wish I see more people using this build. I never see any druids in World Tier 4 at all, let alone people just not running the same basic pulverize, you know, haha funny build. And I see people saying druid is so bad in the end game, it needs buffs, but I couldn't disagree more. I'm doing everything I want in this game right now, completely fine on my own, one-shotting pretty much anything I encounter outside of the world boss, which I'm about to go do. But yeah, guys, that's the build. If you need any questions or any tips whatsoever, please hit me up and enjoy.